Fuse Show. The Drew and Fuse Show. The Drew and Fuse Show. They clean up nicely. It's the Drew and Fuse Show. The Drew and Fuse Show. The Drew and Fuse Show. Yeah, they clean up nicely. Yeah.
Hey, what's up? How you doing?
Back in black. I'm feeling good, man. Rested from the weekend. Yeah, just feeling alive.
Good.
Feeling good.
Same. I DJ'd a lot this weekend, but I didn't drink it all this weekend. So, I feel good today, which if you guys are listening to this now and you listened to last week's podcast, you'll know that we drank a little on the podcast. So it was a fun one, though. We had a good time with it.
Yeah, it was very fun, but we definitely need to mellow those shots out.
Yes. No more drinking for me on the podcast until the next time I'm drinking, that is, of course.
At least no more shots. That's my new motto is no more shots. I'm attempting the no more shot rule.
See, I do the opposite. I do no more drinks, and then I only take shots. That's a problem too, though. But I drink a lot of water in between, and it kind of balances me out a little bit. Once again, we just want to say thank you, guys. We really appreciate everybody who has been listening and shouting us out, tagging us on Instagram stories and all that. We really appreciate it. We just want to keep asking that you rate and review and subscribe on the Apple Podcast. That helps grow the show. If you are on Spotify, make sure you give us a follow. And if you are on YouTube, make sure you subscribe, you like the video, you're in the comments, because we appreciate, we see them all. And if you guys have any questions, we will do our best to get them answered. So we appreciate it. Without further ado, we're going to introduce our guest for today. We're excited about this one. He's been supported by guys like Diplo and Vice and many others. He has played support and opened for all kinds of DJs. He's made countless amounts of DJ edits that have reached tons of DJs globally. While his reach is global, he is based and reps hard for the Bay Area. He's a Twitch partner. He's a veteran in the DJ game and a big brother to every DJ. Please help us welcome Audio1. Air horns.
What up? What's happening,
guys? Thank you. I'm speechless with the intro. Thank you, guys. It's great to see you guys, man.
It's good to see you too. You're looking good.
Thank you. Appreciate it, man.
So we like to get things warmed up with a little rapid fire question round. So what we're going to do is we're just going to read you some questions. Just answer them off the top of your head, whatever you think of first. Here we go. We'll just start with it. What time do you typically wake up in the day? Afternoon or morning?
Morning.
What's your dream vacation?
Oh my gosh. Somewhere in the South Pacific, that's for sure.
All right.
Anywhere specific?
I want to say like the Maldives.
Okay.
Somewhere at Bali, maybe somewhere out there,
All right. We love this question. What is the best non-curse word, one-word insult?
Oh, man.
It's a tough one.
That's a tough one because all I think about is the curse words. Man, we're gonna skip this one because I can't.
All right. I'll tell you what. Maybe this will help you. But Simo's last week was clown.
Clown. Okay.
So I liked that one. It was a good one.
Out here, we have a tendency of calling people busters. Like that's a mark ass buster. So
we'll take
usually
that.
if you say that to somebody out here, you're pretty much asking them to fight. So
I like that one. All right. Favorite childhood TV show?
The Jetsons.
Jetsons. That's a good one.
Yeah.
All right. If you could drive one car absolutely for free, it didn't cost you anything, nothing, what would it be?
Lamborghini.
There you go.
I might actually fit into one now.
I'm with you. I always loved the Lambo.
Yeah.
The red Lambo.
Do you own a Netflix account or do you use somebody else's?
No, my brother's account for sure.
There you go.
Yeah.
The best Netflix account's a free one.
That's right.
They made an avatar for me too and everything. So,
oh, that's even better. They are messing up like what you're interested in and all that.
my avatar has a mustache.
Let's see. The last thing you listened to on Spotify.
My friend's project. His name is Pachenko. He's my production partner. He's working on an album that's gonna drop at the top of the year. So I've been listening to his stuff on there, just helping him support. It's a more disco, like modern disco funk style. It's pretty cool. Different vibe. It's crazy because he's an open format DJ, but it's like a whole different side of him, which is, I'm all for it.
That's cool. What is your favorite thing to do when you're not DJing?
Watching YouTube, believe it or not.
Is there anything specific you watch on there?
I watch documentaries. I spend a lot of time watching documentaries on everything from engineering to science to history, just things to keep my mind flowing, like we're so used to music and all the dumb shit that's happening out there. It's nice to like just normally I'll have my Serato or something I'm working on, and on my right ear, on my left ear will be my earbud, and it's YouTube, whatever's happening. So that's just how my mind works.
Can I ask, do you pay for YouTube? Do you have a premium subscription, or are you going?
I do pay for a premium, yeah.
Because it hits that, you hit that wall where the second commercials just keep coming on. You're going, dude,
no,
I can't hang anymore.
I've paid for years, so yeah.
No,
do you use YouTube Music? Because it comes free with it, right?
YouTube Music comes for free. I've never used YouTube Music before.
Yeah, me neither. I wonder if I was missing out.
Yeah, I mean, only recently I got back into Spotify and Tidal because of the playlisting stuff. And shout out to our homies, the Crate Hackers. That's the only reason I even go into streaming now more than anything, just because of the playlist abilities we have now. So,
well, we're going to talk about Crate Hackers here in a little bit. Shout out them out.
Do you have a favorite remixer or producer?
Oh my gosh, there's so many. Probably my favorite right now is I have my two homies out of Florida. They're called Los Padres. They make a lot of incredible EDM. They've made trap before, and you've probably seen the remixes out
Cameo,
there.
right?
Cameo. Yep, that's my buddy in Florida. He actually works for NASA, believe it or not.
He's a NASA fireman or something.
Yeah, he's a firefighter. Yep.
Shout out to them. I know he does a lot of production work, a lot. So yeah, he's great.
He does a lot for a lot of labels too, man.
Yeah, I think we even have quite a few. At one point, we had quite a few Cameo remixes on DMS. I know he's producing under a lot of different things.
I wonder who was funneling those into DMS.
Yeah. Your favorite dish to cook, or if you could cook one dish, if you were invited to a party and you had to bring something, what would you cook up?
My cooking is very, very limited. Good at making tacos.
There you go. I always like tacos.
And not Taco Bell tacos. We're talking about some real tortillas, some real meat, like, yeah.
Do you make your own tortillas?
I don't. We can, though. We do have all the ingredients. So
yeah.
So I'm guessing always corn, not flour.
For the most part, yeah. So we do love flour ones too. I like the quesadillas on flour ones, but
yeah. All right.
What's your favorite airline?
That's a loaded question. It used to be Virgin America, but they're no longer around. It's Alaska now for that one.
Dude, yeah, their planes were always a party. They always had the lights going.
Yeah. The last good airline I took was JetBlue, believe it or not. They're coast to coast. JetBlue's coast to coast is really, really nice. When I went to Florida, when I met up with Cameo a few years ago, I did take a straight shot from San Francisco to Fort Lauderdale on Virgin and JetBlue. Was it JetBlue? I took JetBlue both times. So that one and then my trip to New York, and those were just like pretty awesome.
JetBlue's up there. They've always been so clean. They used to be here in Long Beach. The city of Long Beach hates fun, so they pulled out, and now I sitting on a ton of miles that I need to get back. But man, they had so many great flights.
You're supposed to not pull out.
Dude, the city of Long Beach just fought them on everything, and finally they were like, you know what?
It probably has to do more with like noise abatement and other issues, probably more than anything.
Well, they wanted to make international flights, and
those would require bigger planes.
Yeah, they weren't having it.
No. So. I used to work in aviation. I worked in aviation before I went to DJ full time. So.
Right. Yeah.
Wow. I did not know that, actually.
Yeah. I did know that, but I completely forgot about it.
Yeah. no.
What did you do in aviation?
I did technical support for the FAA.
Impressive.
Yeah, so it was interesting.
Did you go to school for that, or how did that all come about?
No, I went to ITT Technical Institute. Believe it or not, I have 2 degrees. So yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So I've worked in telecom, and I've worked in computers and technology, and I've worked for Comcast, RCN, all these different companies. So I've done everything. I used to install DSL modems back in the day. I did all that, installing telephones, install TV, high-speed internet. I'd done all that. Worked in the head end as an engineer, and then somehow landed into aviation technology. I did that for 7 years, and the day I got fired in January 2014, I started DJing full time. Better now than never, So
Definitely.
I didn't know. That's awesome. We're gonna have to bring that up later if we still have time.
Outside of the Bay Area, what's been one of your favorite cities you've got to DJ in?
I love New York. New York was a lot of fun.
New York's great. It's quite the melting pot there too. So I feel like you can get a lot of different stuff in one night, and that's always fun.
I was very surprised when I went. I went in it was summer of 2019 when I went. I played on Sway in the Morning on Shade 45. That was incredible, being there with all those people. And I played at Lavo, and that party was crazy. FaZe Clan had just won a big championship in New York, and they were partying there. So you could imagine, I thought I was going to open, start up slow. And no, FaZe Clan just won the championship, whatever big gaming championship was happening. You got to go peak hour right off the rip. I showed up, I opened up the laptop, and the sound guy was like, "Here's the USB, you ready?" It was just like that. I just internal moded the first 5 minutes while I was setting my stuff up.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but it was, that whole trip was fun, man. A lot of cool people out there. I met Neil Jackson, Marco Penta, DJ Scarlett. That's how I linked up with all those people, A lot of people, when they go to New York, it's really just Manhattan. So I always tell people San Francisco sort of like having Manhattan. And then once you get to the Oakland side, it's like you're going to New Jersey. That's the best way to explain it to people. They're like, I live on the New Jersey side pretty much. They're like, oh, I never thought about it that way. If you flip the Bay Area the other way around, they're like, it literally looks like,
Right.
Yeah, that's the best way I could explain it. But
all right, I got 2 more questions for you,
sure.
And these really aren't as rapid.
Okay.
If you could do one thing without any consequences or any retaliation for one day, what would it be?
Oh my God, the sky's the limit on that one. I'm probably gonna plead the 5th. If I'm being real.
All right.
I don't want to incriminate myself here.
All right. We'll skip to the next one.
Look at my reaction.
I think we know what's up. Yep. What is your most memorable night in the DJ booth?
I've had a lot of them, but I think the one that still sticks in my mind was my 40th birthday in 2019. Right. That was a very special moment because that was the first time in my life, in my career, that I want to say the full venue was there for me. Where I looked left and right, and it was literally, I knew everybody, everybody and their mom. People that I hadn't seen in years came out. DJs took the night off to come hang. And that means a lot because, people are missing out on $500, $1,000, but just to go hang for the night, it was incredible. And that was also the last big hangover before I went sober. So it was a good time.
And what club was this? This was local?
This was at Bruno's nightclub in San Francisco. Yeah, okay. It's one of the best spots in the city. So yeah, it was incredible, man. Perfect night. I got way too wasted, but it was just perfect. I got to play whatever I wanted. That venue, they'll just let you do your thing. 1 a.m. I remember I was just playing Tribe Called Quest, and I was playing fun throwbacks, just good R&B. Yo, let's get sexy. Who's getting late tonight? Just playing all the good stuff.
I love that.
Great. Yeah, no, that was great, man. I look at those pictures and I'm I just can't wait to get back, because it feels like for me, it was that moment and then straight to the shutdown,
Right.
And I haven't seen a club since. So I'm itching for it, But yeah, definitely one of the top, I've had a lot of great moments, I've played with Major Lazer and Diplo, and I've done these things before, opening for Iggy Azalea, but that I think just because when you reach 40, that's a big moment in your life, In my own life, I've known people that didn't make it to this age, I think back of all my friends who didn't make it from the streets and from my past, and it's even now, I turned 42 this year. It's it's an accomplishment every year that we make it, despite all the many
100%.
obstacles in the world, so.
I have one other question that we've asked some other guests. It's kind of in the same realm, but if you could go back and tell young Audio1 one thing when he started DJing that you know now, what would it be?
A lot of things, actually.
We have a lot of.
Is this a DJ? Is this a DJ question? You want the DJ answer, or do you want just a life answer?
Both. We'll do the life and the DJ answer. We get a lot of young listeners or guys that are maybe in their first couple years of DJing, and they like hearing some of this input.
I think the best advice I could have given my old self is to make sure my finances are in order, because it's taken me forever to get my finances. I mean, it took the pandemic for me to finally get my finances in control, like I was just never good about, invoices, never good about taxes, never, I winged my way through up till 2020. I just got winged through everything. Now that we've had all this downtime, been able to gather all my receipts and everything. It's very important, because how are you going to buy a home if you have no way of proving that you have income coming in? But I think in general, I mean, not just as a DJ, but I think in general, it's something that they probably should have taught us in high school. You know what I mean?
I was just going to say that. I feel like what an important class that they have home ec, but bills, right? Credit cards, anything. Why isn't that's just as important as home ec? Why are they teaching
learning about credit in general and what that means and what it does and how it impacts your life would be super beneficial. I mean, I could honestly say I think that is one thing that you mentioned that is so important. I say that all the time. I say it to bartenders. A lot of times bartenders, don't have to claim their cash tips. It's just credit cards. And I'm like, well, do you want to buy a house someday? Do you want to, if this is something you want to do, having the income is, you're basically, a third of your income you're not reporting at this point.
Yeah. And at a certain point, the money is coming in really strong. So you always think that it's always going to be there. Saving up for that rainy day is important for sure.
Yeah, no, just in general, the things like that, and even learning about investments, your retirement, it's very important things. People don't think about it, but, especially like what happened with me with like stroke and everything. Like, I'm like, dude, I'm not ready. Like, everything that's happened from then till now, it's been like, now I'm putting the pieces into position for the rest of my life, some shit goes down. I don't want my family to be burdened by it. You know what I'm saying? So it drove the importance home. The pandemic definitely drove a lot of that importance, because we were pretty much left hanging, everybody, all of us, first time ever that any of us probably were stopped ever from working. We couldn't do anything about it, and it's scary.
It was a good reset. Obviously bad things happen, but I definitely had some great takeaways and some learning stuff that I've been able to change around my life, just like you were saying, So it was that reset all of us needed.
We all needed it for sure, man.
One of the things that we kind of always do on the show is the Serato Top Five. So,
oh man, y'all ready?
This is the part where we go through, and if we got any new listeners, we're going to go through Audio1's top 5 played Serato songs. So, and it could be a little skewed if you got an edit from somebody, counts their plays too. So, but
yeah, and you're doing a ton of Twitch, so obviously it's not only the club. It's something that you might be playing a lot in your set, so we understand that. So
let's see, y'all ready for these ones?
Yeah, let's hear it.
I'm excited.
What's the number one? What would be the number one Latin song in the world right now?
Peppers, Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Peppers coming in at number one, huh?
Peppers coming in at number one. The original version, even though at times I will play Spider Tech has a really great remix, and Shake from LA has a great remix as well. Okay. They're more big room style ones. I usually tend to play the original and then work my way into the remix, just so it's like the first drop hits, and then after the second one, it's like a bigger drop.
Are you playing it? I always come in at the big sing-along part, or do you play it just from the beginning?
I do both. I think in the club, you kind of have to do the sing-along part. The main sing-along part is important. I believe in like a Latin clubs, they want to hear the whole buildup, even though the guy singing in the first part is kind of chill. But that's sort of in what I've noticed especially from the Latin DJs, is that it's sort of like a great buildup for that crowd. Like they know exactly what they're about to get,
Totally makes sense, 100%.
But my buddy Kaz has a really cool edit that's just the synth. It's just the synth by itself. So whatever I'm playing, I could just scratch it into the set and it'll play over it. So yeah, it works out. There's so many, and I find that it's like a great segue between Latin and EDM and pop. Like you can go back and forth with it. It's very interchangeable.
Do you just drop the synth 100 times throughout the whole night, over every little part?
You could, yeah. We've done that before.
Dropping it in.
Yeah.
Do you have like a routine that you play like another song? I don't know why I haven't been doing this. I just for some reason thought of it. That Balear song, I feel like that would go well with it. Maybe.
Bailar, yeah.
Oh yeah.
I said they're pretty close in key too. So
I don't know why
the coffin. Those guys that were dancing with the coffin.
Oh, the Astronomia,
yeah. That's pretty. I actually thought it was that song when it first came out.
Yeah,
that synth is so similar.
I think it's the same batch. Yeah.
Number 2.
Number 2, J Balvin and Skrillex, In the Ghetto.
All right.
Yeah, it's been very Latin heavy over here, as you can tell.
Do you ever play the original? How do you mix that in?
That one, I mean, you were talking about the Backyard Club version. You mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, every once usually we'll bring in the old version and then going right into the new one. Danny Diggs has a real great. I think he has like 2 bootlegs of it out. He has one where it's over Chris Lorenzo like bass remix. That's usually the one that I go for. So yeah, I do the Latin sets on Wednesdays on my stream on Twitch, and I always try to differentiate from all the other Latin DJs because with a lot of Latin music, it's pretty much the same shit. So like with the up tempo, I just try to hit them with more big room style. It's more like it isn't just this one style. I'm gonna give you a bit of everything. So I usually just try to hit it from that perspective.
Yeah. I like it. It's a great track. I feel like I haven't been playing it as much. I did have a Spanish crowd this past weekend. I played it. It does well.
It's no 3 times though, right, Drew?
What is? Let's be honest.
That one you could put any drop to that song and it'll still work.
See, there you go. So you gotta tell Audio1 now. You gotta fill them in.
This was on the last episode, and actually it hasn't dropped yet as we're recording this. But I was basically just saying I was feeling it's more of a filler song instead of like a big song. But I apparently have been proved wrong. Everyone is mad at me. That's still a go-to. Are you still playing that track? I'm just curious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all the time.
All right.
Yeah. It's just one of those that you don't really have to play the original. Like if you find a good bootleg of it, it works. People just know.
I think the bootleg's probably the move. That's where it is.
Yeah.
I have a good bootleg, and it's really quick though. It's the only I kind of consider the song a filler too, but it goes right into the "you had a drink, so do we, that part." And then
I have an edit. It's a really old edit, but it's like a clapapella edit that goes into
DJ Donk.
Yeah,
one of those. Yeah, but it goes a cappella out at the end. So I usually just use that part as the part that gets people in, and then on the acapella out, I'm just ready with like a big room build up. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I like that.
So,
I like that.
I don't know. For me, like the DJing is like a construction set. It's just these little things you kind of tie in together. These building blocks. So that's how I look at my
that edit.
Yeah.
All right, number 3.
Yeah.
Number 3, another Latin one. This one's Raúl Alejandro. The song is called Todo de Ti. Have you heard that before?
I have not, and I'm writing it down.
Okay.
Because I need it.
Raúl, it's spelled R-A-U-H or R-A-U-W.
I actually have it. I just haven't
Alejandro,
played it.
Yeah. And it's Todo T-O-D-O de Ti. It's Sony, so, like everything Latin.
Sony.
I'm making it an A1 crate right here. All right.
Yeah. That one is that's an up-tempo 128. It has a lot of the new Latin stuff is starting to have that kind of 80s type of feel to it. Like it has like that 80s dance vibe to it. So
okay,
a lot of Latin stuff's headed that direction. It almost sounds like a Miami Vice type of feel. Like it's kind of interesting. That's the best way I can explain it.
Is there a specific way you play this?
No, that one just drop it in, just let it play. It's one of those songs for the girls because the song's really just about like the guy's basically singing to the girl. Hey, it's basically translating. Todo de ti means it's all about you. Like I love everything about you, and it's like, and he's just singing his ass off to the girls, pretty much. So yeah, sexy vibes.
So I know you have your Latin night and you have an EDM night. Mm-hmm. Do these cross over at all into those?
100%. Yeah.
Okay, because there's a lot of new songs in your top 5, which is impressive.
Yeah, pretty much everything's pretty new. Yeah, I've been keeping up to date, with a lot of the stuff. So
I love it. All right. And okay, number 4.
Number 4. Now, how do you say this? Is it S House or Shouse?
Shouse,
I think I want to say it's Shouse.
Shouse, okay. Love Tonight. Love Tonight. I played the Giannis remix.
I love that track. I've been playing Jason B put together like a little Frankenstein that's like 4 edits in one. It's on DMS. I even shortened it down a little bit, and then it's got, I think it finishes with the Chachi bootleg that goes into like the auto nose. I love that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I love
I
that.
played
track.
that at my wedding this weekend. It was biggest song of the night. One of the biggest songs.
Yeah, check out the Giannis one. I think it's on DMS. We submitted it, but that one's more they call it Afro House, like very very drum heavy like edits. It's really cool. It's like a style that they play a lot in Europe and like in the Caribbean. It's all.
I keep a ton of Giannis edits. I
I never really understood that until when people say, oh, like they play it a lot in Europe. I went to ADE in Amsterdam, the Amsterdam dance event, and for anybody who doesn't know what that is, you should totally look it up. It's worth at least knowing what it is. You see somebody like Fetty Legrand, and he plays in Vegas, and what he plays in Vegas is completely different from what he's playing and is set in the club in Amsterdam. And until I experienced that, I was like, it was completely different.
Yeah,
completely. And it was cool. I mean, it was, when people are into it, it's cool. I couldn't be playing that stuff, but I would like to be able to, and like people react to it like that. I can't remember the club that was in that night in Amsterdam when I saw Fetty. It was Fetty, Bob Sinclair, and EDX all at the same party.
Oh, wow. That's quite the lineup right there.
That's a lineup.
Yeah. I saw EDX at Coachella. That was a great set.
I was drinking Heinekens. I had like 12 that.
Oh, you're having a blast, huh?
What year was that? What year was that, Audio 1? Oh, yours is 2018. And what year did you say you saw that?
2014 at Coachella.
2014, jeez.
Yeah. That was like when the early Future House stuff started coming out, when Chami was out and all those guys. Yeah.
I need that Giannis edit of Shouse too.
Yep, I'll send it to you.
All right, number 5.
Number 5. This one is by Chami, believe it or not. This track is called Buenos Aires, and it samples Zap Heartbreaker. It's really dope. Really, really. Probably one of the tracks that I played the entire pandemic, pretty much. I still play it every week on my sets. It's really the sample. When you hear the sample, you recognize it immediately. Especially any Zapp and Rogers samples are pretty much like a go in anything, But this was pretty cool. Like
one of the things that Drew and I have talked about is like we feel like some of the stuff, like the stuff that we like considered cheesy like 10 years ago, is like kind of becoming hot again with like some of these remixes and these like covers of some of these old disco songs and old 80s songs. And it's just kind of funny to see like it circle back. And now when you like meet with a client, they're like, well, I don't want any cheesy stuff. And then you have to be like, well, what do you think is cheesy? Because, like for them, ABBA Dancing Queen is like not cheesy anymore. And like they want to hear it, or like they want to hear Gimme Gimme, or, whatever. It's just kind of funny how it's
come full circle now, right?
Yeah.
As long as we don't have to play that funky music, White Boy or Brick House, I'm all good. Those are blacklisted for me.
Lots of Boney M out there right now too.
Boney M all day.
Yeah.
So and that was a big Duck Sauce. They kind of brought them out. They were more of a B-side, right?
Right.
Once Barbra Streisand dropped, I feel like they really, people noticed them a lot more, and they have that big giant TikTok song too.
What's the TikTok song?
Rasputin, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's the one that everyone's like remixing right now. Yeah.
You get asked for that all the time at some of my weddings.
Earlier in the when we were asking some of the earlier questions to get started, you kind of were telling us a little bit about your background and where you used to work. We kind of want to know about the history of Audio1 and how you got started into DJing and how it kind of came.
So you're at ITT Technical Institute. Now, I only know about that because of the commercial. That's the only way I know about the Technical Institute. But that's it. the main office is up in the Bay, right?
I don't know exactly where their offices is, where to be honest. Like,
Well, I'm saying the main campus is what I meant.
well, they had them all over the U.S. at the time, but
Okay.
I just knew in high school I wasn't gonna make it into like a regular college, and I was not trying to go to like the community college, and somehow I got suckered into going to ITT. But it was an interesting 3 years there. It was like it was crazy because like straight out of high school, 3 days later I was at ITT already. Like I didn't even have my summer break or anything. It was like everybody else was partying. I was like hitting the books.
So are you DJing at this time, or how does that work?
Yeah, I mean, I've been DJing since the age of 11.
But at the ITT Tech in high school, transferring over, are you already DJing?
I'm just I'm just local, just DJing like house parties, some frat parties in my area. Nothing serious.
You didn't do the school dance yet?
No, I didn't really do those. I never really did those. Like I had friends who did them. One of my mentors actually did some of the school dances for us at my high school. No, I didn't really DJ out till like after 2000. That's when I really started getting out into raves, and sooner or later I started getting into clubs.
Didn't you play like a lot of jungle stuff?
Yeah, jungle and drum and bass. Yeah. So I want to say the first part of my career, I spent a lot of time playing hip hop, underground, boom bap, and then drum and bass. Just kind of made it happen. I was a raver, so that's how it worked out. But here in the Bay Area, we're such a melting pot that like we could listen to drum and bass and then go listen to Latin house. Like it's just that's just how it is. So Drew knows LA's like that, like Power Tools, right? Like
100%.
Yeah.
We would listen to Power Tools. In fact, I used to go to a ton of jungle parties.
Oh wow.
There was one here in LA, and I can't remember what it was called at this point. And then my buddy was really into it too. Yeah, I was just tagging along. I wasn't even DJing at the time. I don't know that I fully understood all that was going on, but I liked it. It's like the drums. And I've always been a big reggae head, dub reggae, and all that stuff has always been big to me. And it's such a big influence in jungle.
I found it all fascinating. I was raving a lot when I was younger in my teenage years, and being exposed to all those different genres, all those different DJs, how they did their thing. Like I was probably drugged half the time, so I was just enjoying what the hell they were doing. I don't know. I found it fascinating, and I just never saw myself not doing it. After the age of 11, I just never saw myself without my turntables, and they're right here. I still have them, So
the same ones from 11?
Same ones, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they've been upgraded. My buddy Ajax he put some carbon fiber, coating on them. It's real cool. So
that's cool.
Well, these are you got techniques at age 11.
I got them when I was 14.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Still, wow. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. They've been through everything. It's fun. I joke around that my turntables lasted longer than my marriage.
That's basically their problem.
Yeah. Well, that was 14 years. This has been longer than that. So yeah, it'll make them like they used to.
Technique.
They're still tanks, believe it or not, man. Yeah.
That was the blessing and the curse of those, that they made them too good, so they were unable to keep selling them.
So you didn't start DJing and playing out until the 2000s. So where Audio1 graduates high school, then later in life he's been DJing, but he's not playing out. But let's fast forward a little bit, because I can remember before like ever really knowing you personally, getting email blasts of zips of like, it would be like 100 edits weekly or something like that. Maybe bi-weekly. I don't quite remember, but DJ Audio1 was in my inbox all the time.
Right.
Sliding in your DMs.
early, right?
Yeah, early DMs, also known as emails.
Yeah,
it'd be about five or six zip files that would take me the whole week to go through before the weekend would hit. No, it was amazing. How do you get into editing? What were you using at the beginning? What software were you using to make all these edits, and what inspired you to just start making edits and going, hey, you know what? I'm going to share these with everybody.
I credit one person. That would be Greg J, who used to be part of the Crooklyn Clan. He's one of my good friends. I've known him for almost 2 decades. He's that person responsible for taking me out of the rave and into the club. Like, if it wasn't for him, none of this would have happened. I honestly think had he not come into my life, like, I would have still been a drum and bass DJ. Probably, I probably would have still been playing raves. I mean, I probably would have killed it in that scene, but I think at the time I was looking for a change. And it was around the time when Vice and AM started taking over Vegas, and it was all this new exciting time, new energy, and I love the fact that at the time, like people were becoming more accepting of you playing multiple genres at once. I was never a fan of like, you got to be a house DJ, you have to be a hip hop DJ. Like I hated that, and even before Serato, it was really expensive to keep up with all these different genres. But yeah, so Greg J got me into the clubs, but he actually would make edits and bootlegs back then. The way he broke it down to me was very simple. Like when we're on CDJs, we're on Serato. He's like, if we have the ability, we all have the same music. Why are we going to play it the same? You might as well make your own edits so you could sound different and sound more unique. Set yourself apart from everybody else. And I sort of just took that and ran with it pretty much, man. From 2006 forward. Started with, a few years before that, I was making my own edits on Acid Pro, and then got into Ableton, and pretty much been Ableton ever since.
And we couldn't both agree more about, the edits and the production, even production and editing and making bootlegs on a small level is setting yourself apart from a lot of different DJs. And if we got young DJs listening right now, this is just another example of somebody else saying exactly what we've been saying. You gotta figure out and learn how to edit and make yourself sound different from the guy who played the night before.
Oh, so I was going to say, so you start making these edits and you're doing this. At what point does the email blast come along? Are you just sharing them with anybody that will take them? Are you making them just for yourself? What's the progression here?
At first, I was making them for myself, for my sets, and then at the time I was, it was MySpace era. I was meeting DJs on MySpace, and then there was a lot of message boards at the time, if you guys remember. The Z-Trip message board. There was Holotronics, which was Diplo's message board, and just kind of got into those circles of different DJs and different groups. And I would just started asking people for their emails. It was one of those things. It was sort of I watched something on marketing back then, and it was like, what's a good way to get people's information? Well, ask for their email, and that's literally what I did. Like, then Twitter came out in 2008. I've been on Twitter since 2008, and I remember one of the first tweets that I sent out was like, if anyone wants my edits, shoot me your email. And that's literally how it was. Just like, a dozen people at first and a couple of thousand over time. But for me, it was one, it's paying it forward. I'd never charge for anything. You know what I mean? If it works for you, cool, man. If what I send you enhances your set, then cool. Down the line, it'll turn into something else. I've always been big on paying it forward with everything. So crazy to believe that I've gotten a ton of opportunities just because I sent people edits years ago.
All three of us here, I can say the exact same thing. My career is exactly where it is, only from making edits that I was going to make for myself. It was for no other reason than I just wanted a better way to play a song.
Yeah, it was.
And you were heavy on the Serato boards too. I remember seeing. Oh
you, right? Man, yeah, no, that's where a lot of it grew, pretty much. Yeah, it was an interesting time. The mid to late 2000s was interesting. It was just fun, man. I think it was like once Serato came in, it was a whole new discovery of music happening. People had access to music they never had access to before. You didn't have limitations to just your one genre. You were able to just dip into everything. You had all these different artists that were experimenting with all these different sounds. You had MIA out there. You had Diplo, who was making crazy shit at the time. And, remember the Baltimore club takeover back then,
yeah.
Early Dirty Dutch, to think of all the different sounds we've gone through in the past 2 decades. It's a roller coaster, but it was a good time, man. And I think you can tell the people that made it and the people who didn't, people go through phases, musically. So
that's one thing I will say about you. You've always been great about networking and staying in contact with people and staying positive. There's been many a times where there's Facebook arguments or something getting heated and Audio1 brings the peace.
Yeah.
100%. Doesn't always work, believe me.
But you're there with a positive attitude.
Yeah, no, I mean, the way you got to look at life is is it worth all the nonsense out there? Everyone's always going to think different, so not everyone can agree on everything. You just got to keep it moving. You know what I mean? Given the way things are in this world, not everyone's going to get along. If people really put how they felt about everything, most people wouldn't get along. You know what I mean?
And that's why you were unable to answer what you would do.
Right.
One night without any consequences.
Without the consequences.
Oh, man.
He would go after everybody on Facebook.
No, nothing like that. No.
No, I keep thinking of Office Space when they're like, what would you do with $1 million?
Right.
Networking is so important. You're just the king of it, I feel like. And I think that got a good grasp on that. And if there is anything you'd want to share to any young listener or anything, by all means, please, we would love to hear like a networking tip or something you think's important.
Honestly, it's just keeping open the lines of communication open, like especially today. I mean, even in the past 5-10 years, Drake made it popular, no new friends. There's that phrase out there, no new friends. The reality is if you have no new friends, you're not going to build a business. You're not going to be able to move forward. You actually need new friends to get you new opportunities, And I speak from firsthand experience because I used to be very close-minded back in the day. And I'm so glad that I'm not anymore, because had I stayed the way that I was before, a lot of the stuff that's happening now wouldn't have ever come to fruition, because more power to people who stick to their guns and they stick to their genres and, keeping it real and all. But keeping it real doesn't get you paid. That's just the reality. And I think all of us have realized that over time. Even the most hardcore boom bap guy, will tell you, yeah, well, I am the hardcore boom bap guy, but, I'm wearing a boom bap shirt right now. But, but they're probably playing weddings on the weekend. They're playing, they're probably playing top 40, weddings, like that's just how it is.
Speaking of boom bap, let's get into the Twitch a little bit. Tell us your okay. You're doing 4 nights on Twitch.
Yes.
Tell us your 4 different nights.
Right after this interview, I'm doing Boom Bap Mondays.
There we go.
That's what we do. My buddy DJ Fly from Pennsylvania and I came up with that during the pandemic. It was just the two of us on Mondays, and then spiraled out of control from there. We've had everybody. We've had Scratch Bastard, Mike 2600, Evil D from the Beat Miners. Everybody. We just had earlier today. We had JC, who's Ludacris's DJ. Who haven't we not had? Like, the most important DJs. I think only Jazzy Jeff we haven't had yet. But that's because you have to make a big phone call for that one. But yeah,
the lineup's always impressive every single Monday. Always, yeah,
definitely. And it's a good outlet for classic hip hop and real hip hop. So I do that on Mondays. All my sets on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays are 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 Eastern. And Wednesday night, I do a show called La Fiesta, which is my Latin show. So everything Latin related is on Wednesday nights. Fridays, I just call it TGIF, and that's my open format show. Pretty much play whatever I want. Lately, it's been a lot more throwbacks, hip hop, R&B. Really depending on what I'm feeling. Sometimes I feel like playing Moombahton remixes the whole set, and that's what I'll do. I'll play Afro beats or booty bass. And then Saturdays is a show that used to be called Broke Ass EDC. We've retitled it as High Octane, and that's 100% dance music, electronic, bass, everything. Drum and bass even falls into there as well. So
I liked the Broadcast EDC, but I actually think I like High Octane better.
Yeah, High Octane was a mixed CD series that I put out about 10 years ago. I made 4 volumes, and that was like very super high energy, 130 to 134 BPM. Okay. Basically every song from back then pitched up to 134. That was called High Octane. So yeah.
So one of the questions I have about Twitch is, when you're playing in the bars and clubs, we as DJs, we got to stay fresh. I think playing in a bar and a club is a little easier to stay fresh because, there's only certain songs that work on the dance floor and that get people hype. And that. But when you're on Twitch, it's staying fresh. You got to stay a lot more because it's a weekly thing. You got a lot of the same people coming in there.
Right.
What's a tip you would give to stay fresh in your sets? I mean, with Twitch or even just in, a club or bar setting. What's the way you like to stay fresh?
Just stay digging for new music all the time, man.
Is there a certain way you organize?
If I went into my organization, that would be a whole podcast in itself. We're probably going to have to do that.
I actually want to bring you back for that because I've seen your organization and wow, it's impressive, dude.
It's actually gotten even crazier since Crate Hackers came into my life.
I don't know how that's possible because it is impressive. It is really impressive. Wait, I want to get back to Crate Hackers, but I'm still curious about this.
Well,
how you organize everything.
I mean, right now, well, I'm using the Crate Hacker system, so I pretty much finally dumped everything into one folder. But most of my organization right now is based on the metadata, and that's like what I tell everybody: make sure you have your years in and have your genres handled. And once you have at least those two things, your smart crates can handle the rest of it. You set all the rules. So I'm pretty much smart crate heavy pretty much for everything, because those crates just build themselves as long as the metadata is in there with each new track that's brought into the system. So
do you I guess this is my problem with my smart crates is I had to dumb them down to, I think I might have maybe 10 to 15, because I would start forgetting that I would write one. And then I would be like hype, or I don't know, I'm just using an example, name it some kind of party, and then I would forget about that, and then I would have to go and rewrite them all. So we're definitely gonna have to bring you on to have some kind of logic on how you title all these.
Oh yeah, for sure. But back to Fuse's question about how to stay fresh. I mean, just stay digging, like diversify your pools, diversify where you get your music, definitely. People are still sleeping on DMS, believe it or not, and it's funny, like every time I have a set, they're like, bro, I've never heard any of this stuff. I'm like, yeah, it's on DMS, you cheap fuck.
Yeah. I mean,
for as much as people talk about their balling, I'm like, hey, if you're balling that hard,
they always want the records for free though.
Yeah.
No, I think all of us here will, and we always talk with Warren, and Warren will be the first to tell you that you should be on multiple pools.
Yeah,
and
always.
even though we're all sitting here, our DMS editors, I love DMS. If I wasn't working for them, it would still be my number one pool. Right. But with that being said, I still have other pools, and it's important. I have like 5, I think, open right now, 5 different pools. Just to be able to pull different things and see what's going on and all of that. So I definitely think that that's important.
Yeah, I mean, every pool and every source is going to give you different results, and it's important for you. I mean, you could play the safe route and just play the things as they were meant to be played, or you can go the extra step and find something that's going to be a little more out there, For me, like when I do these shows, I'm just trying to come with the best like remixes and bootlegs out there, for each of my shows, except for the boom bap one. The boom bap, I try to keep it more, the originals, but there are some really great remixes and edits out there as well. So, I'm always just digging, man. That's all I do, just try to find some real fresh stuff all the time. Just stay on top of your music.
And it shows just by your Serato Top 5. You have most of the songs were from last year. It shows, how up to date you are on these things.
Yeah, I got to brush up on my current rap, but that's mainly because I really have chose not to play new rap on Twitch as much.
It's hard. I feel like a lot of new rap just for me
flops.
Flops. And unless you're like in a small bottle service heavy room where like people are all there and they're all cool and like trying to be cool, it doesn't work for me.
Right.
And
because there's no dance floor, right? And it's all sing along, and that's how it works. It's the sing along, and you're just going with it.
Yeah, they're there to be cool, sit on the edge of the DJ booth, or the couch, like you said. And
at least the songs are getting shorter and shorter, so it's the big key moments, and then you can get out of it.
All right, so you've been on Twitch and you've been doing your thing, and for those of the listeners that don't know, you suffered from a stroke last year. Since then, you've been working on your recovery, and which again, you look great, and I'm glad to see that you're doing well. But you've partnered with a company or organization, I should say, called Beats for Hope, and we wanted to talk a little bit about that. And one of the things I'll mention real quick before you get started is DMS just partnered with Beats for Hope. We did a thing where we raised money to feed families and people for the holidays, and they raised over $25,000. And I think with that, it was said it could be 255,000 people fed. So it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that was really cool. That was Direct Music Service, Tweaks Music Tips, and Beats for Hope together. That was incredible, man. Yeah, I mean, Beats for Hope is a nonprofit organization based here in the San Francisco Bay Area. I've known Alex Mejia for many years. More recently, Monica. She handles everything there. And pretty much what they do is they just help raise funds for all these different organizations and people that really need the money out there. Like right now, food is it's scary to say that like food necessity is so big. So that's really what we ride on. Pretty much like for every dollar you raise, you could feed a family for $1. It's crazy, man. it's insignificant to most people, but when when you tell people like for the price of a Starbucks every day you could like feed a whole family, it really puts things into perspective. So for me, like linking up with Beats for Hope was a natural fit. I've known Alex for years, and I've been at their events in the past, and I always felt like I wanted to give back to my community in some way possible. And it's just crazy that at the moment in my life where I had no work and nothing was happening, and I was on Twitch, like it, all the shit started happening. Like we were still giving back even when we didn't have anything. And now we're just keeping it moving, man. Every time you buy merch from beatsforhope.com, proceeds go directly to these organizations that need it. I'm really happy we work with a nonprofit called Lava May, and what they do is they set up portable bathrooms and showers in homeless encampments and in like Skid Row in Los Angeles, places like that. They provide a lot of resources. They provide like dental care and health care for homeless and communities as well. So that's really what it's all about, man. It's just like, I have a platform on Twitch, and I just play my ass off and, and hopefully help spread, the good word. That's really what it is, man. It's not church or anything, but it's just me for me, it's doing the right thing. And especially everything that's happened after my stroke, it's all about paying it forward, really. Like the blessings came 1,000% strong, like after what happened to me. And I feel that part of it was me paying it forward all these years. Everything comes back full circle. So now that I'm getting better, like all I could do is keep pushing forward, spreading the word about, helping communities in need. It's just something I've always wanted to do.
Is there links that you could share with people?
Yeah.
It also ties into your merch, right? Proceeds of if they buy a shirt or anything like that goes towards this as well?
Yes. So, you can read the mission statement and all the information at beatsforhope.com. That's the best way to check it out.
And you have a tab on there, and it has tons of merch. So
yes.
If you guys want to buy some Audio1 gear, just know that it's for charity, and a lot of the stuff, it's cool because it kind of ties into the Twitch and all that emotes and everything on there, so it all kind of like comes full circle, and I think it's really cool as well.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like I never had merch before. It wasn't until the pandemic. It's funny, like we spoke earlier about the pandemic being like a necessary reset, but it really was, because it made you think about what have you not done up to this point. And up to that point, I hadn't ever had merch in my life, and people always asked. It sort of just kind of came together, naturally. So
I was gonna say we were at DJ Expo and everybody was rocking Audio1 merch. That was what I was gonna contribute to that.
That's so awesome, man.
Yeah, it was cool to see it all. And one of the things that we've kind of like talked about and alluded at and so far, but I don't think we've touched on it, is since the pandemic, you haven't taken any gigs at all. Since things have reopened, you haven't taken any gigs at all, and you've just solely been on Twitch. With the new year coming and us wrapping up this year, are you planning on hopefully taking some gigs come 2022?
Yes. My goal right now is springtime. I'm hoping March I'll be back out there. I'm slowly starting to go out. Just kind of checking out what's happening. I got to get a lay of the ground out there right now, because it's different everywhere. I sort of have the perspective of all my friends across the United States of what's happening in their markets, but I actually need to go out here in my own area and actually see what's actually happening, because unfortunately not everything is open due to all the rules and regulations in California. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't understand about California. They're like, how is everything like this? I'm like, it's just the way things are out here. There's rules and regulations for everything, from running a bar to running a club to, Drew will tell you, running, private events, like specific load in times and load out and noise. It's not the best state to run a business, unfortunately.
Well, I know San Francisco, or just even all up north, is probably as strict as LA is for us.
Yeah.
I started doing a little bit more travel stuff just because I couldn't hang anymore. But we were just in LA, and you need the vaccination card. You need to show that. You need to wear a mask. it's not the rest of the country. It's crazy. I still can't believe it. So I wonder how the clubs are there in Frisco, if they're requiring vaccination cards and masks and
I believe in
tables.
I believe in the city of San Francisco, most venues are requiring it, but outside of San Francisco, I don't think in Oakland or San Jose they do. It's such a trip what the difference is from one county to the other, like what's happening in LA County, and then you go to Riverside or you go to Orange, completely different. Go to San Diego, it's like open season down there, like San Diego's popping. It looks really cracking right now.
Yeah,
I'm on the border of Long Beach and Orange County, and so most of my friends will just go across the street so that they don't have to wear a mask into the grocery store. And Fuse is coming out here to hang out for a little bit. We got a couple shows lined up.
Bring a mask.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to coming out there. It's been a while since I've been out California, so I know things are a little different, and that's just kind of the nature of what you got to deal with when you're traveling right now. Is just you kind of just got to deal with things. But I'm hoping soon that things will kind of be a little more. I'm thinking, like you were saying, like springtime for when you're gonna be taking some gigs. I'm hoping that things across the board will be more in sync, by then.
I hope so. I mean, I'm getting back into it, but more than anything, we're talking to these different promoters and different venues that I work with. I've had to express like the importance of how important my health is, how my health sort of takes precedent over everything else right now. So I'm being very strategic as far as everything I do from this point forward, like it's got to be worth my time if I'm going to be out there exposing myself, because I am immunocompromised now, dealing with the brain issues, dealing with the heart condition. Like I just can't be out there just, nickel and diming, it has to be worth my time. If I'm going to travel, it has to be worth my time and effort. So, but the opportunities are coming in, the offers are starting to come in now, and I'm just making sure everything's right. I pick March and springtime because I'm just based on how I'm feeling physically, like I'm getting better. I'm not at 100%, but I'm getting pretty close. There's some days where there's days where I feel like I'm lost, like I have brain fog and I'm just like pretty much out of it all day. And then some days I feel like nothing's wrong with me. So I continue to heal, but I'm looking forward to 2022, man. Everything, all of this, everything, the pandemic, all this twitching is just preparation, like I was telling Fuse earlier that doing all these Twitch sets is more to keep me fresh with the music, fresh with the skills, that I'm still on point, so when I do get back out there and I'm on point, I didn't like take a break this whole time, The only break I really took was from the time I had the stroke to 6 months, and then I got back on it.
And you had everybody in the community step up and jump on your Twitch stream to fill in and make sure you kept everything going.
That was
all
amazing.
The dates going.
Yeah, that was really amazing, man. Yeah, up till October. From October on, I've pretty much been doing it all on my own again. So, but yeah, it was amazing, man. I mean, even DJ Vice took over my channel, which I was just like, the support, cool. From all these people, like, E-Rock, Bella Fiasco, Angie V. These are like big names. VTech, like these are big names that they just showed support. They just jumped on and did their thing on my behalf, and I'm forever grateful. So
it's been awesome to see just people support you and everything through this time, and DJs helping DJs. It's been really cool. We got a little lighter question we're gonna ask you, and one of the things we've asked, we had just had Simo on and we've had Scooter on, and this is a question that Drew and I didn't really know about until we kind of Googled a little before. When it comes to the Bay Area and San Francisco specifically, is there any kind of go-to food that is Bay Area? We read sourdough bread, and then I mentioned maybe a Frisco melt. I don't know, but is there anything?
Well, everything I was reading it's such a melting pot that there were so many different areas, right? Chinatown, you go down to Fisherman's Wharf, it's so heavy on the seafood. There's just so many different areas in San Francisco, and
in the Bay Area,
like he said, Scooter had the Philly cheesesteak, Skyline chili for Cincinnati. So we're wondering if there's a go-to. Is it overrated? Is it amazing? Maybe there's a couple, since it is such a melting pot.
Yeah, that's a tough question, because there's just so much different food here and so many different things. When I think of San Francisco, I think of like I don't know why, but when I think of San Francisco, I think clam chowder, like a bread bowl of clam chowder. That to me says San Francisco. Like,
okay, I think I've heard that before. Now that you're saying that, yeah.
I mean, Fisherman's Wharf for sure. You would probably go to Boudin in Fisherman's Wharf or something like that. But that's that. But honestly, like California, man, it's all about Mexican food out here, man.
It's all about Mexican food. No, you brought that up earlier. Let's talk tacos and Mexican food, because that's. If I'm stuck anywhere, I'm eating Mexican food. That's all I want. And when Fuse comes in, I'm showing him some. We're probably only eating Mexican food. I hope you're ready for that.
Yeah, that's completely fine by me, because I am ready.
Is there classic recipes? Anything you want to share?
No, not really, man. Just I implore anybody who's not from California to come out here and try out our Mexican food, because I feel like most of the United States does not know what real Mexican food tastes like. Until they come to Cali or they come to Arizona, they go to Texas. Like, you just don't know what real Mexican food is till you're really out here and you're actually enjoying it. You're eating at a food truck or something. Like, that's the real vibe right there, So,
and even all three of those states that you just mentioned, it's Tex-Mex, it's all different. It's all the different regions, and Cali Mexican food is just so amazing.
Right.
So
if you ever come out to the Bay Area, I'm gonna give you guys a name. Look up Al Pastor Papi.
Okay.
Al Pastor Papi. That's my man, Mr. E from San Francisco. He has a really incredible food truck. Him and his brother battled Bobby Flay many years ago for like best burrito. It was really cool. But yeah, look them up. I'll send you guys the Instagram. When you guys see this food, you guys are gonna be like, "Oh, I'm going to the Bay. I gotta have that." Because it's just.
Is it only Al Pastor? Because that's my go-to for the most part.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I think it's the main dish. He does other meats too, but yeah, like he actually went down to Mexico. He went to Mexico City. Went to study the how they make it. Like he's pretty legit with it. So
are you drinking out of a Taco Bell cup right now too?
I am.
I noticed that earlier. I didn't want to say anything.
I mean, he's sitting here telling me about how good tacos are out in California, and he's eating.
Dude, I had to pick my daughter up, and we were in a rush, and it's like 1 minute from her school, and I'm going, okay, I have a half a minute to like get here and get back to record this.
That's my favorite thing so far right now.
I am not trolling by any means either.
I saw that.
I'm not trolling either. It's amazing.
That's funny. I haven't had fast food since the day I had the stroke. Life changer.
I need to get your mentality going, because I could definitely use that change going on here for sure.
It's moderation more than anything, man. It's really that's really what it is, man. I learned the hard way, man. Having a stroke is not fun at all, man. I had to give up pretty much everything, Like when I say I have tacos, like we have tacos at home. I rarely go out to go get them made, because that's why I've lost so much weight. Gave up all the fast food. Gave up soda. Gave up, caffeine. Pretty much, like no more Red Bulls, no more coffee. Like all I have is water now, or water with some light flavoring. So.
And you don't even need the caffeine. I something came up in my feed recently. Just cutting back the caffeine, how much better you'll feel when you don't
100%.
think you need it.
Yeah.
Are you taking any like supplements? Do you take any like vitamins or anything?
Oh yeah. I do.
Notice have helped.
Yeah. No, I take a multivitamin. I have a couple other things that I take as well. So yeah.
I just started taking sea moss.
Sea moss is really good for you. Yeah.
Yeah. I just started taking that. I'm not taking it long enough to where I could say like I've noticed anything, because it's literally
it takes about a month for you to notice any effect. There's like a slow burn. I used to take it, and it was like you would just take a scoop out of your thing a day. So
are you cooking for yourself, or just the family all throws down together?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So everything, like our diet here is pretty much low salt, low sugar. So pretty much everything's pretty much modified. It's basically taking health into consideration, like if I went outside and just ate whatever was out there, I probably would get sick, because I did it for too long. There's certain things you can reverse with your health and what you do, but I couldn't just go back out there and have a cheeseburger, that would just mess me up,
We had, me and my wife did the Whole30, which for 30 days you cut out sugar, anything processed, any of that.
Right.
And I did have a cheeseburger to celebrate right afterwards, and I got sick.
Yeah, that's what happens.
That was only a month, so I can't even imagine as long as you've been doing it.
Yeah. No, you just got to be careful. Honestly, it's I'm not trying to preach here, but it's really just moderation in everything. Like I haven't drank the entire pandemic, so I'm almost 21 months not no alcohol, so that's helped out a lot.
Props.
Yeah, I mean everything in moderation. I speak from experience. I used to drink 6 sodas a day. It's just not good. 3 Red Bulls a day. It's just not. That's no way to live. I think the most important thing that I've learned since getting out of the hospital is like portion control.
Right.
Like before, like especially being Latin, you're just forced to eat hella food. You know what I mean? It just becomes second nature. Like, fill up your plate. When you're finished, fill it up again. But no, now it's really like when they tell you like a size of your fist of rice or size of this for this, like on your plate, it's a mind fuck because in your mind, it's like, that's not enough. But when you have it, your body's like, okay, this is good. It takes your body like about 20 minutes for it to process what you ate. And normally when we're just pigging out, we're like, oh, I'm not full yet. You just eat more. And then those 20 minutes hits and then everything just hits you. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I cook. I shouldn't say but my girlfriend and I, she does a lot of cooking, and through the pandemic, we started, and not only with just being more healthy, but it's such a, the amount of money I save because of cooking at home. I mean, we can go to the store. We probably go to the store every Sunday, and on Sunday, if we spend $150, that's a lot for the two of us. So for $150, we pretty much both of us eat, for the whole week. Don't get me wrong, we still go out every once in a while and eat somewhere, but half the time I'm like, we can make this at home and it tastes better, and
yeah,
and we got food for a couple days, or I got lunch tomorrow too because of this. So and I didn't really ever give it any thought until the world slowed down, because I was just always on the go, or just the convenience factor, so it is a big deal. There's so many options, and I always say eating healthy in America is hard now. Like you really have to want. Not only is it hard, if you're eating out, it's expensive. So eating out, even if you're getting stuff in the store, it's expensive. The healthier option is usually the more expensive option. I'm not, just like fat-free Cheez-Its. I'm talking like the stuff that's actually good for you,
Right.
So no, but that's good, and I'm glad that you're feeling better and everything.
If there's one piece of advice I would give any DJ or anybody in general, don't eat at night. Don't eat after the club. That's like the worst thing you can do to your body. And I know we all have done it because we're just faded as fuck, and that pizza looks really good, or that burrito looks really good at 3 a.m. But trust me,
Taco Bell.
Yeah. See, that's my problem. I used to do on the way back before the pandemic. On the way back home, I would have a Taco Bell that was 24 hours and a Carl's Jr. that was 24 hours. So yeah, that just doesn't digest well. You feel like shit the next day. It's like I just know we always. That's the messed up thing about nightlife and DJ culture is you drink and then you want to eat. It's like they go hand in hand. Yeah.
It's like school. You were saying we need how they want to do that. We should do classes where they talk about just your finances and all that stuff. We need a DJ school where we talk about health.
I remember at home ec in high school, home ec was like, all right, we're going to show you how to make Rice Krispie treats. And it was like, all right, cool.
I remember that. Yeah.
But
how to make popcorn.
Yeah. Like let's learn how to make healthy stuff that tastes good. Anyway, another topic that we've touched on, and we know you got a jet here in a little bit, but crate hackers and how that's been a big tool for you and what you've been doing with that.
Man, shout out to Aaron and everybody at Crate Hackers. They reached out after I had my stroke. They just offered the tools to me. They're like, we know you're gonna be down for a while, so like let's just give you access to this stuff and you let us know what you think. And I'll be straight up. Before that moment, I really wasn't really a fan of what Crate Hackers was. I didn't really, and that was more because I didn't really understand it. Like I was just like, what playlists? You're giving DJs playlists? That doesn't make any sense at all, But once they provided me the tools and I started implementing them, I was like, oh, okay, this really makes a lot of sense.
Me and Warren always joke that when they first told us about it, we go, that's the dumbest idea ever. You're going to give people playlists and they're going to sign up. Obviously, we're huge fans, and
100%.
Everything they're doing over there is definitely game changing. So how are you using it to your advantage?
Well, I basically was able to, I was already organized for for lack of a better term, but I had all the free time earlier in the year. I still have free time, but I was able to weed out a lot of music from my music collection that I didn't need, just stuff that sat around for years. They just gave me the tools in different ways. I spent a lot of time talking to Mike a lot, and he was breaking down different ways to organize. He actually gave me the whole thing about, I use hashtags now for genres. That's something that he used in his system, and that's helped me out in mine. So far, I've deleted 130,000 songs from my collection, which is a lot. So right now, I only have 65,000, which is still too many in my opinion. So I'm constantly weeding through my collection. Yeah, just organizing, putting everything in its place, fixing the metadata on everything through the record cloud. I really love their tool. I love their the CSV, where you could put a playlist and have it make it a Serato crate. I actually went through like a ton of my old crates for Serato from like 2012, 2015, like really old ones, and I just put them through Crate Hackers, and I was like, well, now I have all these playlists of all this old shit I used to play. So now I'm like, I have these cool new playlists of stuff that I'm gonna hopefully be implementing into the clubs pretty soon. It's
that 2012 and 2011 stuff is, for me, all massive again. Yeah, I feel like I'm cheating because I'm replaying the old sets that I used to do all the time. But no, that's a good idea. I haven't use that. I know that that's a feature. I haven't implemented that yet. So,
dude, yeah, I use that a lot. That, and then also the Spotify to Crate is really cool, because I used to just, even before Crate Hackers, I used to just when I would see these really cool playlists on Spotify, I would save them. I never ever got around to like downloading anything, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, you mean I could just copy the link from Spotify, have it spit out what's in my collection? I'm like, that was incredible. All the different features, it's really cool. They're working hard. Glenn is like working day and night. These guys know exactly what they're doing, man. And it's funny because I see people complain about it once in a while, and it's just, it takes time for people to wrap their heads around it. It really does take time. Just like with Serato, you have to shift your mindset.
It's like controllers. When controllers first came out, people were like, "Oh, I'm not using that. That's cheating." And it's like now, it's like everybody uses controllers and everybody's cool with it, but at first it was not okay. Yeah, totally. So and shout out to all the guys at Crate Hackers, and the marketing too is just on point, and Dom is a king at that, and Joe with all of his clever videos, and everybody. So shout out to Crate Hackers. They're great.
What they're doing.
DJs, if you're needing help or feeling like you're in a rut, it's a great place to go to use as a resource to get inspired, ideas, and stay fresh. So
their community for me is their biggest thing. Their community, their Facebook group, and their hackathons. DMS is constantly on those hackathons, and I think those are really big things that people need to pay attention to. It's not just the amount of money you're paying for these playlists or these PDFs. It's also the community.
With that being said, we got one more thing we want to talk to you about before we wrap up here, and that's just some new tech and DJ gear. And one of the things that you mentioned was that you're an S11 user, and that's been a game changer.
Game changer. I feel like I'm gonna feel naked when I go to clubs that don't have an S11 now. So it's scary how awesome that mixer is, man. I've only had it for 5 months, and it's just completely changed my fucking flow, the way that I DJ and play. Like I don't even need to touch my laptop at this point. Like everything is within. I just look at that screen and I could do so much with it,
Yeah,
I was saying we both bought one. We had Priel and Joni on an episode, and halfway through the episode, he said, "You guys need to get an S11." We both sold our S9s and bought an S11. I used mine for the first time this weekend. Yeah, and I'm 100% the same way. I don't know how I'm not going to DJ with this thing. I love this mixer.
Right.
What are some of the tools that you're using on it that maybe I need to start looking into? Because I've only used it I used it twice this weekend, and that was it.
I mean, I keep it pretty straightforward. I mean, I like that you can MIDI map everything. I pretty much MIDI map mine out, so I could change keys. I could auto sync. I could do a whole bunch of different shit. On my one button push, I could have my LFO or whatever, I use sync, so that's pretty much built into it already. I mean, I beat grid everything. I'm OCD about all my files, so everything's beat gridded and ready to go. So
yeah, we talked about the beat grid a little bit with Simo in the last episode and how we all think that that's pretty important to have set on all your tracks and stuff, and how helpful it can be.
If you plan on using sync, then I think that's the big misunderstanding of sync. I think people just think that like you press a button and it mixes things together. It's all prep work, you know. I think for us, like all three of us, like people look at what we do and we make it look easy, but they don't see all the hours, days, weeks, months, years of preparation. I mean, everything we do is preparation leading to the big moment. So when we're out there on stage rocking a party or rocking an event, like that's like the end result of all the preparation. Setting grids on tracks is part of the preparation too, you know, next to playlists and everything, you know, like everything else we do. That's all I do every day. I just prepare, you know, different things. So, but yeah, this mixer is just unbelievable, man. I mean, Pioneer finally went and they upgraded the sound card, and it's just a really dope mixer. I'm glad I waited. I didn't really have the money for it last year, but I told myself this year, if I'm going to return to DJing, I better buy myself at least something, you know. And so that was the one purchase, and it was well worth it. And like I said, I'm going to feel naked when I'm not on it because I'm so used to it. So there's days where I will practice and I'll be like, you know what, I'm just not going to use sync during the set because I don't want to get too used to it, even though I could just sync within the laptop itself. But I'm like, let me just remind myself of how to actually beat match and, you know, doing things, you know, the old fashioned way. It's really dope how far we've come with DJing, man.
Totally. I think the sound card is majorly improved. I noticed a huge difference this weekend on my speakers. The one thing that maybe you could help me answer this is I wasn't able to see the beat grid on the screen of the mixer. Is that able to update that, or?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I know the beat grids, I see them in the Serato. I don't see them on the screen, to be honest with you. I never really looked at that. I think as long as beat gridded in Serato, it should be good on the mixer. So
I don't mean it for sync. I just look at the numbers so that I kind of know where in the song I'm at. Yeah. And I use it more as a reference point. So that was just one thing that I noticed made me look back at the laptop that I would have rather not. So just curious.
Okay. Might have to ask Priyan about that, maybe. That's a good question. Yeah, man, it's really dope, man. You could record, and you could keep them. It has a setting where you could take the mic off, so like it'll record a set without your mic. So I thought that was really, really cool. It was a game changer for a lot of streamers as well because we yap so much on our sets. So
totally.
Yeah. No.
Is there any other new tech that you're into? You mentioned something about some headphones too.
Yeah, I mean, these earbuds, I don't remember the exact brand. I was trying to find out earlier, but I'll get back to you on that. But I was trying different in-ears, you know, like I've been using Sony's forever. The MDR 700s, I've been using these for almost like 10 years. The old
school. Yeah, wait. You've had those last you for 10 years? Because every year I had to buy a new pair of those.
This is the last one that I opened, and I opened it 3 years ago. I bought like 3 boxes because I liked them so much. 2012, I bought a pair, and then I bought 2 more. So yeah, I've been using those pretty much since 2012. I was just trying to see about in-ears because at home I don't mix with the audio out. I literally mix in my headphones only. Like the Twitch audience has no idea. Like I'm not blasting speakers in here. I'm pretty much just using in-ears. There's a really good in-ear technology right now. When I finish some of my testing, I'll let you guys know what works and what doesn't. So
is there anything else that you like that technical wise? It could be anything, cell phone, whatever.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, there's too much out there, man. I really like the new stuff Denon's doing. I like the algorithm stuff that's happening, you know, where you're able to like basically make your own stems live. I see Layback Luke using a lot of that stuff in his sets recently. It was an algorithm DJ, I believe, right?
I signed up for it. It's dope. I want to bring the S11 in here and MIDI map it. I've seen all that Luke's been doing, and he's just using a cell phone. He's using his cell phone on airplane mode. Right. Or it's not on airplane mode, but
it's on a new do not disturb mode or something, right?
Have you fucked with it yet?
No, I haven't. I want to though. I find it fascinating. Just the fact that you can just, if not insta acapella, just removing vocals from a track. I could see that working where you're avoiding like, words on top of each other in a mix, because that'll happen every so often. But I use beat jump anyway. So like if I see it happening, I just jump back to a different point in the song. That's something that I do a lot. I beat jump everything. So
we were talking the last episode with Simo about beat jump, and I was saying I use beat jump to just set cue points, but how do you use it in a song? You just have it set and you just jump back and it goes back in the chorus? I don't understand.
Yeah. I mean, like especially on Twitch, we get caught up talking to our audience in the chat room. And sometimes I'll realize, wait a minute, my 8 bars is up. I got to mix out. So what do? I just hit my 16 or I hit my 32, and then I basically restart the chorus again, which gives me another opportunity for me to mix out. Things like that happen all the time on Twitch. People are saying something's happening, people are donating or whatever, and you're shouting everybody out. So I just try to keep a track, like with Twitch, I just try to keep track of what's happening with the audience and make sure that like I don't miss my points to mix in and mix out.
I like that. I'll have to use it a little bit more in depth for actual DJing. Yeah.
Sometimes if you want to get through a song, I mean, I've done it sometimes where I'll just skip through a song live. Like, because the thing is, when you're jumping, the listener has no idea what's happening. It just doesn't sound like, like it doesn't even sound like you're doing anything, like it's interesting. It's like you're playing a little bit of magic. Like the hook ended, but all of a sudden you bring the hook all the way back again. Like they don't see that happening. To them, it's like, oh, this song has 2 hooks. They don't realize that I actually pressed the button for it to go back. So yeah. Warren
was showing me that he uses it. You know how songs have like it'll stop and it has that dead zone in it,
and he'll jump over it. Yeah,
he jumps over it.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. I like that.
So you could you could jump over it, or you could have a cue point on the other end. That's what I normally would do. So, because those lulls are very they're horrible in the dance floor.
Well, I think that's just gonna wrap up for today. We just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to come up on the show with us, and we're so glad that you're back and feeling better, and that in 2022 you're gonna be taking some live gigs again, and I'll be excited to see footage from you in the club. And hit us with some links, your social media and all that, so people know where to follow you.
Everywhere at DJ Audio1, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter at DJ Audio1. I'm active on those platforms. Mixcloud.com/DJ Audio1 for all the new mixes. And I am live daily on Twitch, twitch.tv/DJ Audio1. Make sure to catch me on there. And yes, 2022, man, we're looking forward to it. All bootlegs, all edits, all remixes are exclusive at directmusicservice.com. Don't sleep.
Also, throw out that Beats for Hope is all the merch and everything.
Yeah,
like that.
you could get my merch, and definitely check out the mission statement on there at beatsforhope.com. You can support us, most definitely.
All right, I think that's going to wrap up the show today. So thank you guys for tuning in. Please rate, review, subscribe on Apple Podcasts. If you're on Spotify, please follow us and download. If you're watching on YouTube, please make sure to subscribe and click like on the video and leave us a comment. Let us know you're listening. If you're listening to the show, set a screenshot and tag us on Instagram. We love seeing that you're watching. If you guys have any questions or anything you need answered, we'll do our best to help answer. We appreciate you guys, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.